everyone, Alexa Donne here, and I am the author of the upcoming YA thriller, The Ivies, out from Crown on May 25th, and I'm here to share with you 10 things that you can expect to find in the Ivies. I thought it would be fun to do just a little listicle about my upcoming book and all of essentially the juicy, fun tropes that you're gonna find in it that may entice you to read. First, I will read you the official blurb from my publisher, which is readers of Karen M. McManus and Holly Jackson will want to enroll in this boarding school thriller about a group of prep school elites who would kill to get into the college of their dreams. Literally. Everyone knows the Ivies, the most coveted universities in the United States. Far more important are the Ivies. The Ivies at Claflin Academy, that is. 5 girls with the same mission, to get into the Ivy League by any means necessary. I would know. I'm one of them. We disrupt class ranks, club leaderships, academic competitions, among other things. We improve our odds by decreasing the fortunes of others, because hyper-elite competitive college admissions is serious business, and in some cases, it's deadly. I can tell you anecdotally that blurb, I thought it was really fascinating that my publisher used the first person. That's because that is a snippet kind of condensed from my prologue. And I'll tell you that in the prologue, there will be mild cursing in this video because I'm about to say it in the actual prologue. It says it's serious fucking business. This book does have cursing. I don't know if that's on the list of 10 things. And you're like, shouldn't you know? It's your list, it's your book. Yeah, I made this list a long time ago and I've been waiting to film this video, so now I have it in front of me. So what are the 10 things that you will find in the Ivies? Number 1, if it wasn't clear from that description, is Mean Girls plus college admissions. And Mean Girls is definitely a literal comp. It was certainly an inspiration for the book. Other Mean Girl clique movies that you might say would be Heathers, though I'll tell you, I'm not like a ride or die Heathers fan in the way that many are in pop culture. I actually took a little bit more kind of subconscious inspiration from the movie Jawbreaker, if you've ever seen that, because that was the Mean Girl clique movie that came out when I was an actual teenager, and then Mean Girls came out when I was in college. And so it's really a combination of Jawbreaker and Mean Girls that inspired me, and then you get the intense competitive college admissions angle. And one of the reasons I wrote this book was I was just like, I can't believe no one's written this angle, because like, what's so fun about Mean Girl cliques as a trope is all of the like social politics of those groups and essentially the bullying that goes on within these social groups. Like, college admissions turns that dial up. So accordingly, the second thing you can expect to find in the Ivies is elite boarding school bullshit. Yes, I decided to invent my own fictional Northeastern boarding school. I had kind of those really super elite fancy ones in mind that legitimately do send a ridiculous portion of their seniors to the Ivy League. They're basically those boarding schools that are like an almost direct pipeline to those schools, because I wanted to really play with those dynamics, but mostly because you know what's great about boarding school? Their parents aren't there, there's limited adult supervision, and they can feel a little bit more like mini adults, and you can have more drama sneaking around, parties. So if you like the boarding school tropes of, you know, roommate drama, parties, sneaking around campus in the middle of the night, I got you. And the third thing you can expect in the Ivies is very complicated female friendships. Really complicated friendships, period. Toxic friendships, kind of what it feels like to be in that kind of group and step outside of it at a certain point and like see it from another angle and have to extricate yourself but also ask questions about yourself. I love those sorts of examinations. Friendships, especially among other young women in high school and into college, but this is high school, they are complex, complicated, they bring up all sorts of feelings, many of which really stick with you for a long time, and so the friendships are definitely messy in this one. The fourth thing you will find in the Ivies is a Canadian cinnamon roll love interest. Now, romance is not really a driving force in the book, but it is there. Our main character, Olivia, ends up investigating this murder mystery with Ethan, who is a fellow student on the newspaper, fellow editor on the newspaper, and she has a crush on him, and there's kind of a back and forth there, and her feeling like, you know, she's been part of this awful friend group and she's guilty by association, and there are secrets that she's keeping, and he is just too pure and wonderful for her, and so there's kind of a push and pull there. And then I get kind of the fun of having my Canadian character who's observing all of this US college admission stuff being like, are you guys okay? And he is based on an actual teenager who was Canadian, who I helped with college admissions, and you know, it's so different on the Canadian side, so he was inspired by a real person. And that's the thing. The fifth thing you're gonna find in the Ivies is a ton of stuff about competitive college admissions in the United States that is based on facts, on real experiences, real stories. I have worked in college essay consulting specifically, like essays are my specialty as I am a writer, since 2014. I've been doing it pro bono in Los Angeles with underserved students here through a nonprofit, Right Girl. That's kind of how I got a taste for it and got thrown into what it is like now. If you were applying to and going to college more than 15, especially 20 years ago, you just don't know what it's like, and it is this whole wacky, crazy world. I've spent so much time on College Confidential, the Applying to College subreddit. Both of those get shout outs in the book. I know a lot of the different personalities. I did private consulting for several years on top of kind of the helping students for free in person in Los Angeles, like, you know, for several years there before I got far more busy with book contracts. I would just roll onto Reddit or College Confidential and volunteer to help students. I really love kind of digging in and helping them craft their essay and have a piece of themselves on the page, but also application strategy. And you learn all sorts of things about how schools have unofficial quotas, the kind of level of competition with your own classmates at your schools. I chose to do a boarding school here because, again, I wanted limited adult supervision, but just the whole system of how it works, the difference between a hyper competitive and elite public high school versus normal public high schools, the have and have nots of how many APs you have, test scores are a whole thing. Things with guidance counselors. I have some, like, I fictionalized them, but a lot of the outrageous things that you will find in the Ivies, things that people do to other people, backstabbing, are based on real things. The parents in here are based on kind of real stereotypes of parents. A lot of this is inspired by real life, but it has been heavily dramatized. Because as far as I know, no one has murdered for Harvard yet, and we would like to keep it that way. But you name a salacious story in the Ivies, and I'll kind of like wink, wink, confirm, deny whether that was based on a real thing. Accordingly, the sixth thing you're gonna find in the Ivies: backstabbing, blackmail, scandals, and scams. Some real, some fake. I will reassure you, one or two of the backstabbing sabotage things in the book I hope are fiction, really hope are fiction, but you'd be surprised what kids get up to at a hyper elite East Coast boarding school where the prize is admission to the Ivy League of your choice. Bwahahaha. And in this glittering world of the elite, the seventh thing that you can expect in the Ivies is a lot of class politics and a fish out of water main character. The main character, Olivia, is kind of my stock scholarship student. It's a trope for a reason, but I went that route because I have been the scholarship student at a very wealthy private school, college in my case, not a boarding school, and I wanted to be able to have that lens of things because part of what makes this whole world pretty bonkers, when you get to the upper echelons of competitive college admissions, whether it is those really elite public schools, which tend to be in the richest areas of America in terms of home ownership, property tax, the jobs that the parents have, but also private schools, whether they're boarding schools or not, it's all about money. It's all about money, privilege, access, and essentially what money can buy. I mean, you're probably already thinking about the federal scandal. It's not an official 10 things you're gonna find in the Ivies, but you will find references to that because that happened while I was writing this book. And it's true. viewing that as an outsider, but not just as an outsider. Olivia can laugh and judge this bonkers world, but she's also trying to participate in it. She wants to become a part of this world. She wants a taste of it. She wants to climb that ladder of social privilege. And there is a lot of kind of looking at that. So you'll find in the Ivies a lot of those aspects of class and privilege, but also you have a main character who she wants more than anything to become a part of that world. And what are the personal sacrifices that you have to make to do that? So the 8th thing you can expect from the Ivies is secret rooms and bitchy group texts. Lots of those social politics and having fun with that boarding school setting. Though, let's do one thing you won't find in the Ivies that is kind of related to this, a disclaimer of sorts. The Ivies is not dark academia. I don't consider it dark academia. It wasn't purposefully written that way. Dark academia has a bunch of awesome tropes. I love dark academia. And some of them are kind of in the Ivies by default of the fun of that boarding school setting. But it's definitely more of that commercial thriller vibe, soapy with Mean Girls, a little less of the stuff that you would expect to find in like a hardcore dark academia. I mean, in hindsight, I wish I had a creepy library scene and classical references, but just to set your expectations there. Which brings me to the 9th thing you can expect in the Ivies, which is New England winters, Western Massachusetts, leafy goodness, and some Wellesley mansions. I'm all about that Massachusetts life. You'll find some great Mass references in this one. And essentially architecture porn. I do lovingly describe a mansion in Wellesley. So if you want those snowy New England, Massachusetts vibes, so do I. It's why I chose that setting. I definitely miss trees and snow and my Massachusetts clan. And the 10th thing you can expect in the Ivies is a New Year's Eve party in poor taste. I don't want to spoil the rest of that, but it is one of my favorite things in the book. It might possibly be one of the worst things I have ever come up with, and I'm oddly proud of the depths of morbidity and depravity that it goes to. Overall, if you kind of get the theme on these, it's all about boarding school. It's all about Mean Girls. It's all about social politics, class politics, high drama soap, a lot of backstabbing and secrets, and hopefully some twists and turns that are a lot of fun and hopefully a little bit surprising. If they're not surprising, I hope you enjoy the ride. So that's it for now. You will find pre-order links down below, and in the comments, I would love to hear any questions you have about the Ivies. I do plan on doing, well, eventually I will do a spoiler Q&A once the book is out, so look for that. But for now, I'm assuming most of you haven't read it, so if you have any spoiler-free questions, feel free to drop those down below. I cannot wait for this book to be out. I cannot wait for you to read it. I hope this whet your appetite and maybe nudged a few of you toward picking it up. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and I will make more content about the Ivies and my YA thrillers. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and happy writing.